Hey guys, and welcome to today's math lesson. Today we're going back to subtraction, and we are going to be looking at subtracting numbers from a number that has double zeros. So for example, doing a question like 800 take away 257. Last week we did proof pictures, and we're going to use proof pictures again today. Now, I can almost hear the moans and groans from some of you. I know it's a lot of steps. I know it takes longer, but it's really important. What those proof pictures do is make sure that you are able to show me that you know exactly what's going on with the number and that you are remembering about the different place values. What happens often is when we're subtracting big numbers that are close to 1,000, we can get away with subtracting without saying a number over 18. And 18 is a much smaller number than 1,000, for example. And so what sometimes happens is students really forget what they're doing and they lose a little bit of what we call their number sense. So we're going to make sure that we know exactly what we're doing, and we're going to prove it with a picture. In today's schedule, I think you have about 6 questions to do, and I'm only going to ask you to actually do proof pictures for 2 of them, and then you'll be free to use whatever method you like to subtract the rest of the questions. Okay, so let's get started. Here we have our base 10 blocks for which our pictures are based on. So just remembering, this is our hundreds block, and it's actually made up of 100 little ones. Okay, and this is our tens blocks, and of course we can fit 10 of those onto 100 because 10 groups of 10 is 100. And by the way, this is set up in an array, just like we've been doing in multiplication. 10 groups of 10. Okay, and then our ones, just to keep them looking different than our hundreds, we're going to use the little circle to represent ones. And we're going to use the long straight line to represent a 10. Notice again, I am not making a rectangle and putting 10 little squares in there. That takes too long. And our hundreds block is just a big square. And again, I'm not going to draw all 100 little squares inside there. Okay, so those are the symbols that we are going to use. So here is the first question that I'm going to do. 500 take away 237. So if I was to build this with my blocks, I would be using 500s blocks, but I am going to do that through a picture instead, remembering that I'm only building this first number because that's what I start with, and this number I'm taking away from that number. I'm not adding to it. So 500s. 2, 4, and there are my hundreds. Okay, now I'm going to be taking away 237. I'll be able to take away the 200, but I can't take away the 30 yet, or the 7, because I don't have any 10s and I don't have any 1s. Usually we're starting at the 1s, and so I would go to my 1s, and if I don't have any, I would go next door to get some. But when I go next door, there's nobody there. So there are no 10s, which means I need to go right over to the hundreds, and I'm going to take this 100 and turn it into some 10s. And of course we get 10 10s. And again, if you remember from last week, we're going to line those up in groups of 5. Some of you did this and some of you didn't. So if you didn't last time, please really make an effort to do that this time. It just helps our brains when it's organized this way, and it's a lot easier for me to check your work as well. Okay, so I've solved my 10s problems, and now I can solve my 1s problem. So I'm going to take a 10 now and turn that 10 into 10 1s. Okay, and there it is. So now I can do my question, okay? So I need to take 7 ones away, right? And sometimes that's where we get stuck, is some people forget, and I'll ask you, well, what are we taking away? And then you get all mumbled up. Remember, this bottom number is the one that's telling us what we're taking away. We're taking away 237. We're just taking the ones away first. So I'm going to take away 7 of them, and it's quite easy to do when they're lined up in my 5s because it's a 5 and 2. And so you can see that I have 3 ones left. And then I'm going to go over to my 10s, and I need to take 3 10s away, 30. And so this one's already gone, right? But I'm going to take 3 more. So let's just take the first 3. And so that leaves me with 5 and 6. 6 10s, which is 60. So what I really did there was I had 100. Once I moved that over, I had 90. So what I did was 90 take away 30 equals 60. And then I'm moving over to my hundreds, and I need to take 2 hundreds away. So I'll just take off those, and I can see that I have these 2 left because that one was used. So I can even do that so I don't get confused. Okay, and so you can see that I have 2 hundreds left. So what did I do? I had here 4 hundreds after I used that one, and I took away 200, and that left me with 2 hundreds. Okay, now the important part, after I do it in my picture, I need to show the steps over here. I want to see all the steps in this one for the 2 pictures that you're going to be doing your proof pictures for, or the 2 questions. Okay, so what did we do? We started at our 1s. We didn't have any. So we went next door to get a 10, but there wasn't any. So we went all the way to the hundreds. And we took 100 out to make 10 10s. So this is how we show that. There's 4 hundreds left. And then instead of no 10s, we now have 10 10s, which is the same as 100. Okay, and then once we did that, we were able to turn a 10 into 10 ones. And so we took that one. I should have left myself more room. So now I only have 9 left, but I put those 10 over here to make the 10 ones. And then I did 10 take away 7, which is 3. I now have only 9 10s. Remember, this one was gone, so we had these 9, and we took away 30. So 90 take away 30 is 60, or 9 10s take away 3 10s is 6 10s. And then 400 take away 200 left us with 263. Okay, so these steps were important. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do one where a 3-digit, but we're only taking away a 2-digit. Okay. Now, in your schedule, it's written this way. And so you may find it easier to write it vertical. Just remember that the 1s need to go under the 1s and the 10s under the 10s. Otherwise, you might end up with something like this, which is not true because you are not taking 700s away from 800. So just make sure your 1s are lined up with your 1s in the 1s column, and the 7 10s are in the 10s column. Okay. So we're going to start with our picture. We have 800. I'm going to go down just so we don't run out of room here. Okay, there's my 800. And I have 1s and 10s I need to take away, but I don't have any. So no tenths, I need to start with my 100. So we're just going to take one of the hundreds and turn it into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tens. And now I can take my 10 and turn it into 10 ones. Okay. And now I'm ready to start my taking away. So I'm taking 9 away. So I know that's going to leave me with 1 left. So we have 1, 1. And I need to take 7 tens away. So right now I have 90 here. And I'm taking away 70. So let's take away this 40, 50, 60, 70. And that's going to leave me with 2 tens. All right. And then I now have 700 left here, and I'm not taking any hundreds away. And so I'm left with 7 hundreds. Okay, so remember, I don't want to just come over here and write 721. I want to show the steps of what I did. So starting at the ones, I don't have any to take away, so I go next door. There are no tens, so we need to get 100. Still didn't leave myself enough room. All right, so I take 1 away. There's 7 hundreds left, right? That was after we took that 1 away. And so then I now have 10 tens. I can now use those to get some ones, and so I'm going to take a 10 out of there and leave myself with 9 tens. Can you guys see that? All right. And when I bring it over here, then by taking that 10, I now have 10 ones. So 10 take away 9 is 1. 90 take away 70 is 20. And it's a 20 because it's in the tens. And 700 take away 0 is 700. And so my answer, my difference, is 721. All right. So again, you can choose 2 of the questions to show the proof picture and the steps. And then you can subtract the other questions just by doing this part. Or if you're in the group that I showed you how to take away using negative numbers, you can do that strategy, whatever strategy you are comfortable with for subtracting. So that's it for today, and I hope that you are able to clearly show what is happening when we subtract by doing your proof picture and showing the proof. I will see you very soon.